Hello, welcome back to Emily Spins It. My name's Emily Mills, and today I'm so excited to have Matty Marz with me. Hi, Matty.
Hi, happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. Welcome.
Love you.
Love you too. So, Maddie and I have known each other for a few years now. Maddie, what was the album you were working on in 2023 when we met?
Moment with you.
Moment with You. Okay. Yeah, we've known each other through some iterations of each other for sure. So,
So layered, like an
so
onion.
layered. But I'm so excited to have you here now.
Yes, so happy
Um,
to be here.
I'm gonna just read through the bio you sent me. It's an iconic bio. You have some amazing words in here, so I'm really excited. I'm not gonna edit it at all. All right. Coming from the skies, straight from the pop music heavens, lands Matty Marz, pop music's next muse. Swirling in sonic landscapes similar to the likes of Charlie XCX, Carly Rae Jepsen, and Madonna, Maddie reinvents classic pop aesthetics in a fresh, pink, and irreverent, sleek sound for perfect for crafting the hits of tomorrow. Solidifying her upcoming project, named to be determined, Maddie has started to tease the first single, Boyfriend Material, which promises to wow her fans and music listeners alike. That's just such a great bio. I love it so much.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. Okay, so that's what we're working on now, but I would love to know what your first live show was like, the first one you ever performed.
I feel like I had a few maybe before this one, but I think every artist has like their show that they remember so like vividly
Yeah.
in their brain. And I played a show, one of my first shows ever, and I think it was at Mercury Lounge, if I'm not like if I'm, not mistaken. And I remember playing to like a room full of like 20 people and slowly watching all of those people like leave the room. And I think a lot of people would like have that as like a traumatizing experience. I think for
Yeah.
me, it just kind of it showcased that like, you're never owed an audience. And I think that's a really important lesson that you have to learn as an artist like early on, that you really have to work on your craft. I was really young. I kind of like got the opportunity pretty randomly, so it just sticks out to me as something I like always work harder.
I absolutely agree that most people would consider that traumatic.
Yes, it was definitely crazy. I remember being like, "Everybody," and then it was like everyone just left.
Oh. No, but
It's everybody and you're talking to the sound guy.
yeah, it's everybody.
Yeah, I know, literally. And then I was like, "I actually think I'm done." I was like, "I think I'm gonna wrap it up." Like, I know it was like there's nobody else in the room.
So you just start freestyling, just like start doing your own thing, vagina
Interpretive
monologues. You
dance.
get you get like a chair and just start going.
No,
Um,
literally. And I mean, the music wasn't very good. I mean, a lot of love to my younger self, but the
yeah.
music wasn't very good. I think I was very ambitious. I just don't think that, again, I was there or ready to kind of do what I needed to do. So, core memory, very important to learn that
Yeah.
early on.
Well, that's absolutely such a good take on like being an artist is you should always look back at your early work and be like, "Ooh," because that means you've improved. But yeah, you shouldn't dismiss your early self. So that's really nice to hear that, yeah, maybe it didn't go the way you had hoped, but it was still a really valuable lesson.
Totally.
Um, what is one of the first shows you remember attending?
I That's a really great question. If you want to go way, way back, it
Yeah.
literally I think was like Aaron Carter,
Oh, nice.
which is really funny. I think I was like, oh my God, I must have been like 5 or younger. I think the first show that made a really like big mark on me was probably Lady Gaga's Monster Ball. I had to have been like 12 years old. And I remember just being at MSG, just like being like, oh my God, I want to do that. That is like the most incredible thing I've ever witnessed in my 2 eyes at that age. And I mean, honestly, still to this day,
Yeah.
like it's Lady Gaga. So that was such a pivotal, I think, moment of my young creativity kind of forming, of being like, oh, I didn't know that was like a possibility. Like you can be a pop star.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally understand what you mean there, where like maybe it wasn't the first, but it was one of the first where you maybe like had the sentience to incorporate that into who you were and
Totally.
have it affect you. Would you say that Lady Gaga is like one of your favorite artists from growing up?
Totally. I
Yeah.
mean, she's just really feel like she's one of the last, like, major pop stars of, like, the 21st century.
Yeah.
what she's been able to do in her career is, nothing short of incredible. And I feel like she's a lesson for every artist to push further into themselves and to, be more authentic and to try new things, be weird. And she's just the GOAT.
So I agree. I'm a huge fan. Were there any other, or I know she was like the quintessential pop star, but were there maybe any other artists out there that you felt really shaped you as either a music listener or a young musician?
I feel like my big ones were like Prince,
Ooh,
Madonna. My parents listened to a lot of Tom Petty, so inadvertently, like a lot of his songwriting became a part of like my music vocabulary. Um, I also listen to a lot of like heavy metal, so I was listening to a lot of
yeah.
like Megadeth and Ozzy Osbourne. So I was very like rambunctious child. So I think I was really impacted by things that felt like really theatrical. So if there any was like a pop artist that was bringing a layer of just like theatrics and persona, I was kind of enamored with David Bowie, obviously. So a lot of
Maddie, you
the
were a metal girl? What the fuck?
Yeah, I
Why did I
know.
not know that?
I'm
yeah.
shocked.
No, yeah, growing up, everybody's always like, "What?" And then I was just like, "I know." So, like, I came from, like, a very much, like, a it was, like, classical music and metal were, like, my bread and butter randomly, very,
The
like, niche.
dichotomy of a girl, what can I say?
But I was just like, "It's layered like an onion."
No, I that's the type of music I personally like as well, like larger than life, loud, fast, theatrical, like something that makes you sort of like transports you somewhere else. So I could see the correlation between someone like a Prince or a Madonna and then metal, because metal is drag, it's camp.
Oh, it's
It's
so
just
camp.
it's just
And it's like,
screaming.
who's the guys that wear the masks? Is that I
Slipknot
Yeah, Slipknot. So it's
yeah.
like it's just like anybody who's just like, they're so heavy metal. I'm like, they're guys that wear masks. Like, I'm like, camp, like,
Or
I
Kiss with all that makeup, like,
yeah,
come
literally.
on.
I'm like,
Good
"Come
looking camp,
on." I'm like,
screaming
"That's
guys.
what makes life worth living." I'm like, "Fun stuff. Bring back
And then
fun."
who's the other one now? Sleep Token, who's like
Oh,
got
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I love
There
that.
was there was I remember I went to a concert, I think I was, like, probably, like, 15.
Mhm.
I went to a they were they were, like, a new metal slash, like, hymn, almost like church-like music where there wasn't lyrics, but it was, like, tones, and they would just it was like 8 guys and they stood on stage and it was like huge scary metal like guitar riffs with just them just going like like it was so and I was like yeah so
Yeah, hell yeah, we love.
absolutely.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great. So and I know you're a songwriter, so I'd imagine that, all of that exposure and that well-rounded music background has really been able to impact you in a positive way.
Completely, yeah,
What is your songwriting process like? Because 'Cause you've trained professionally, correct? As a
yeah,
songwriter? You okay.
yeah. I think it's like I feel like it's different every time. I also think sometimes songwriting is super unserious. Like, with the upcoming single Boyfriend Material, it started as a conversation with me and one of my best friends, Jace Green. And we were just on the phone and I at that point, it was like kind of late summer. And I was like, yeah, like I'm getting a lot of male attention and like I just feel like I have a lot of boys who want to be like they're all like boyfriend material. And he was like, "Oh, that's, like, a great song." And I was at first, I was like, "No, like, that's I don't have anything to add in, like, the zeitgeist of, like, boy-obsessed pop music." I was like, "I don't really know about that." And he was like, "Well, let me, like, let me, like, make something, like, a loop, and then, like, we can see if we hate it or love it." And then he sent me something, and it was like, "Wait, that's so good." And then it just kind of, like, came about so organically, and it was just truly based off a conversation. I think a lot of great songwriting happens conversationally. I think truly out of all of the songs that are some of my best, they you don't have to think, it just kinda comes out of you. So sometimes it's like that, and sometimes you sit, kind of bang your head against the wall for hours, and you're like, "I don't know what this is gonna be." Or you write something and then it sits there for like a month and then you come back to it and then you finish writing it. So there's so many ways that it can be accomplished. And I think that's part of the fun challenge of like writing and, being an artist where you kind of don't know how it's going to transpire next. So you just kind of have to believe in it. And if you, have a good enough narrative and a good enough, sentiment, it will come out of you.
That's cool. I mean, I write obviously like journal for music reviews, but that's such a scientific way of approaching music. So hearing about how you have a more creative approach and a more personal approach is really interesting to me. Do you mind talking a little bit about your history as a songwriter, like in the experience you had and how you found you were even good at it?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it all kind of started when I was like in musical theater growing up, and I was, you know, I thought that was going to be the direction my life took. I also thought classical music was going to be the direction my life took because I was kind of like caught in these two worlds where I was like, oh, it makes a lot of sense. You do this, 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 you study this, and then you kind of go off and do your own thing. And so pop songwriting didn't really become a major part of my life until probably like my teen years, where I was like, oh, it's basically just like writing poetry, or like, I found music production probably around that time as well, where I was like listening to artists like Dead Mouse, and I was like, oh, that is classical music, but just, transmuted in like a synth way, like in a, there's a beat to it. So I kind of was like, "Oh, you can do that in those ways, and that makes sense, and that's what that is." Um, and I think my ability to songwrite really kind of happened more so in my, like, later teen years of realizing that I had more to say. um, it started mostly as, like, poetry, and sometimes it was, like, slam poetry, and sometimes it was kind of, like, nonsensical free-form cadences. Um, but then once I started to really understand that you could have 4 chords and then write an entire song over that, that's when things started to kinda, like, change. And I think going to Los Angeles and studying at LAMP, definitely helped my, like, commercial brain make sense of songwriting, because I think that it sounds almost like there's, like, a mythos about it that is a little confusing, where you're like, "Well, songwriting, like, where does it happen from?" And there is kind of a way to go about it in, like, a mathematical sense, where you're just like, "Okay, well, like, you figure out a flow, and you have to fit certain words and certain cadences into that flow to, like, make it a cohesive phrase." And it wasn't that kind of thinking until much later on, I think in my, like, 20s, that started to shape, like, actual kind of like Max Martin type of songwriting, which I feel like I do pretty well now. I think I've learned the pop mathematics of writing music and understanding why certain things make sense and why things don't make sense, and how to kind of break down melodies and being like, okay, well, like the song starts here, so the chorus should start up here. So it's like it sounds like a gradual walk up, and that kind of way of songwriting is not easy. So that's like a secondary skill, like, you have to learn after just doing it for, like, thousands of hours, like.
Yeah, because I've studied my fair share of music theory and I couldn't put together a chord. So I imagine
Yeah.
that's just something you have to learn. Do you ever get to write for other artists or mostly just yourself?
I love writing for other artists. I think it allows me to kind of help digest, like, what they're trying to say. Um, I think it's always a great, point of reference where I can do what I do really well, and I can use someone else's experience to, like, help magnify what they want to talk about, and like the things that they're going through. So I've definitely produced and written for other artists, and I do love to do it. It definitely doesn't happen all the time. I think it has to be the right place, the right time, the right artist. But I think if I'm able to flex my muscles in a way that somebody else is like, "Well, I never thought I would make a song like that," like, that's always, like, the best compliment. And yeah, approach-wise, it's the same, and it's also different. I think that instead of being like, "Well, what do I think is really amazing?" I am more so really trying to have a conversation with someone and being like, "Oh my god," like, if an artist comes in and they're like, "Oh, I just went through this crazy breakup," I'm like, "Oh my god, no way, like, let's talk about it, like, how did it happen? Like, how did it make you feel? Is there anything that you wish you said to this person that you didn't get a chance to say?" Like, if you're trying to figure out what the core of the song is and the value, of what the message is, I think it comes out of a conversation, and as a good songwriter, you're able to make the artist be vulnerable without even them kind of realizing that they're being vulnerable.
That's really interesting. Has there ever been a situation where you've met with an artist and it doesn't mesh, you don't see eye to eye? Like, what does that conversation sound like?
Totally. I feel like it's kind of interesting because it's different every time, and I think that's one of the annoyances or the nuisances about making music is that you can be in the studio for hours and hours and hours, and sometimes it's just not clicking. It's just not, cohesive or whatever, like the idea isn't coming across. And that's also okay. I think, there shouldn't be a pressure to like make a hit song every time you're in the studio. I think that's a really like screwed mentality that also shouldn't be the goal. I really think that there's so much music and there's so much music that I enjoy personally that is not made for like the charts or, to be like this commercially viable thing. I think, if the goal is to make a great song that you're proud of and the artist is proud of and it gets across what they're experiencing in their lives currently, then that's a success. So I think sometimes when you don't see eye to eye and like you kind of have those kind of moments where you're like, okay, I think like we've had a day, nothing has happened. That's also okay. I think you just have to approach it in a really, loving and kind of just it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. So I've never had an instance where like something ends badly and we're all just like, we're beefing, we're never gonna like, talk again. But there are definitely times when you're in the studio and it's like, okay, well, that didn't really work out. So let's just go to lunch and like chill.
That's something that we talk about. I talked about with my former guest, was the importance of community and just not you don't know where things are gonna go. Maybe it's not where you thought, but you might as well take the time, build the relationship, and you never know. Maybe in the future it'll work out. Or if not, hey, a friend is great as well. That's totally fine.
Yeah. I think that's like partially why I kind of am a little choosy with like, who I work with. And sometimes like it has to be like an alignment of kind of like good energies. And that's why I prefer songwriting with other people than producing, because I think producing can be a lot of like stress sometimes where it's like, here is like, or, it's like, here's a song. Okay, make a full-fledged production that's gonna be incredible and exciting. And, sometimes it's like, I don't wanna do all that. So so I think songwriting, is a lot more fun for me as, like, someone driving, like, a backseat, and I like co-producing. Like, I think, like, I've realized myself as a creative, I'm a great finisher. So if someone's like, here's a song and it's like 45% of the way, 50% of the way, I'm like, great, I'll take it that extra 50% and make it amazing. But I think sometimes, having the pressure of like build something from scratch can be a little bit like a little
Daunting.
daunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned that you have a new project coming up. I know you're starting with your single boyfriend material. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. I am so incredibly excited. I know that like every artist is always like, this is the greatest thing I've ever done. But it does feel like, my coming into myself as a woman, the last, 2 years of my life have been leading up to kind of just this moment of really feeling really like seen and, making something really cohesive. And so this new project I'm just really, really, really hyped about, and I think that it showcases some of my best, most like commercially viable work. I think I had the mentality from the get-go of being like, I want to make pop music. And I think it's just really exciting. I think, I love everything I've done, but I think with Boyfriend Material, it feels like I hit the mark on the head with something that feels exciting, and it feels there's like an energy to it that is very, very different than anything I've kind of done prior. And yeah, I really, like I said, like there's a Max Martin like Swedish approach to the way that we wrote it. It's super hooky. It's like really undeniable, and yeah, it's some of also my favorite production I've ever done in a song. It's really just, like, fresh and bubblegum and sleek and fun.
I love that. I have heard little bits of it in your promo material, and it's definitely fun. I know you did talk a little about like how you came up with the name and the songwriting and stuff, but what was maybe the inspiration?
inspiration was just me just kind of like living my life. I this album coming out is really like my like girlhood album. It's me really like spreading my wings and experiencing things that I've never had the ability to experience before in my life, and it's kind of a lot of like self-discovery. I think that that's the best way to describe it. And so it's all through the lens of like, you know, me being my ultimate pop star self. It's like um you know, so boyfriend material really came about in a way of just like I was living my life, and for whatever reason something about like late August, like something changed in the universe where it was like every man was like, I think I need you and I'm in love with you. And I was just like, whoa, everyone calm down. So I was experiencing
Lucky.
like dating as a woman for the first time in like a big way. And that's just kind of how it came about, where I was like, I like this guy, I like this guy. You know, the song kind of plays with the idea of like trying men on like clothing. And that's kind of
Hey,
where
sluts.
I was gonna say.
not like that though. Just like literally like I think it's the persona of a
No, I
slut, but
love that
it's
for
like
you.
no one's
No,
actually
it's
that's
slut
like the
in
fun thing. It's
parentheses
like
positive.
Yeah, no, yeah, slut positive.
Slut compliment.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, absolutely. It's like I think it's very much just like Madonna's Material Girl or like
Yeah.
Pre Madonna by like Marina and the Diamonds, like these like hyper feminine personas that women can like kind of play into of being like, well, I want it all and I want it now. And if you don't give it to me, I'm bored of you and you're being discarded. And so it's like it's I'm like a feminist anthem. Like, yay!
Absolutely.
What are you doing later? Something nice. I know it'd be nice if you're there.
Think you met up with boyfriend material, but I'm more of a gut naked kind of girl. My one of one, you're an original, but I'm a collector, so I need a
Have you written anything else for the album, or is this like primarily where you're at right now?
No, I have like 10 songs.
Oh wow.
I have maybe like 7 of them are like pretty done. Um, I wanna say the last 4 are still being worked on. I've been like a little lazy at the last maybe like 2 months. I need to kind of, you know, get my butt moving and finish writing those songs, but the ones that I do have that are like solidified are so good. And you know, the project covers like heartbreak, it covers, you know, self-discovery, it covers just ambitions and like being overwhelmed by your own ambitions and kind of being like, well, what am I doing? Like, am I on the right path? So it feels very like coming of age.
Are you in your Saturn return?
I'm about to go in it in like the next like month or it's they say that some people started as early as 26 and some people started as late as 30. So I'm kind of like
Wow.
in between. I'm like
Okay.
I will be, you know, I'm like not to disclose my own age, but like I'll be
You
you
said
know,
I'm only
entering it.
16.
Yeah, literally.
Well, but I also think like in compare like you said about coming into your girlhood, like I think it's reasonable that maybe you have a little bit of a delayed Saturn return. You're starting a new life, so I get
Yeah,
it.
it
It
is crazy,
fits with
but
you.
I did look it up and
Yeah.
it says I started in April of this year.
Well, then this is a good timing.
Okay, sister.
Yeah, it's rough, team. I just left mine, so
I was like, I when I
It's
heard
good
heard
rough.
that, I thought I was like, oh, I already went through it because like that's what transitioning was. And I was like, I have to do more. I have to become a beautiful woman and
transitioning was
also
to get you to ground zero, where you can
I
then.
know. I'm like, right, okay, okay. I'm hoping that it's like the Saturn return is like, oh, it brings money and success. Oh no, like, oh,
Ah, so
ah,
scary.
oh
No,
no,
Heather's
literally.
right. It's a good rough. Like it's very confronting, but clarifying. Like it, I wouldn't be here if that hadn't. Like I
Wait,
don't know.
what's that tweet where it's like, you attract what you're scared of, and it's
Yeah.
like, I'm so afraid of 10 million
No,
dollars.
literally. So I'm like, I think just where I'm at right now is like I feel like the only thing you really can do is just, you know, really give in to the things that you want. I think all
Yeah.
of us as, you know, all of us as women here owe it to ourselves to really be as ruthless, you know, respectfully, obviously, in our dreams and the
Disrespectfully.
things that we exactly, you know what?
Fuck it.
Disrespectfully.
If it's towards a man, it can be disrespectful.
Exactly. So I think that that's just how we have to approach things. Like I don't know. I got my heart like ripped out of my socket like last month. So
Oh
I'm
my
kind of
gosh.
like, okay, I'm gonna be evil now.
Yeah. And I love that for you. You should focus on
Being evil.
furthering yourself.
The next album is about being evil.
Delusional. I love it.
Exactly.
Okay. So you have quite a wide variety of professional experiences. I would love to know what your advice would be for maybe an artist who's looking to break through or get started.
I feel like my best advice would just to be it's so like trite, but I feel like it is to be authentic. I think that you just have to follow your own path and, wherever that will lead you. And at the time when I started making music, close to like 10 years ago, I didn't think that I would be here like right now as like a woman. But I had to like follow that path and I had to honor myself. And in turn, I feel like that's unlocked a lot of other opportunities and experiences that have been really beautiful. And I'm still at the beginning stages of my career in many, many ways. But I know that being authentic and being who I am and being, unapologetic about that is the really most important thing. And that's going to help me navigate the success I do get when, you know, the single goes number one and like all of these things happen. And like, when all the excitement happens, you have to look inward and remember who you are and why you started this because I think this industry can be really noisy, and if you don't have that kind of flag navigating you through the worrisome winds, um, you can just get lost. So I think authenticity is the most important factor of any artist.
Yeah, that's a really like wholesome and beautiful way to say that. Um, I'd imagine authenticity has been really important to you over the past few years as you're really trying to come into who you are.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's been like essential. I also feel like that's kind of what art is. It's like if
Yeah.
you look at like the objectives of why people make art, it's really to commentate on your experience as a human being, like, and talk about what it is that you do and the way that you see the world. And that's kind of the whole point of it. It's like whether it's, painting, whether it's theater, whether it's, singing, songwriting, it all is for the purpose of just telling people why you're here and how you see and feel things.
Yeah, I absolutely understand. It's funny you mentioned theater because a lot of people don't think theater is authentic because you're playing a role, but I was a theater kid as well. I would hardcore disagree.
Oh my
What
God.
kind of shows did you like to do?
Oh my God. I was a big Shakespeare girly back in the day. 12th Night was really amazing. I really loved 12th Night. I did that. We also did Midsummer Night's Dream. I really love Midsummer Night. I like his I love his dramas, but I think that his comedies and his like romance book theaters and like theaters his plays are a lot more sentimental to me. I also love to do I was a big musical kid. We did a lot of like, you know, Once Upon a Mattress. We did, Chicago. I did like what's the one with the baseball?
Damn Yankees?
Yes.
Okay.
Did Damn Yankees. So I was like, I think my favorite like musical writer is probably Sondheim.
Okay. I didn't sing or act. I was stage crew, so which meant I listened a lot.
H. Crew.
I did AV. So as someone who had to listen to it, I always loved the Weber shows, but I know if you are a singer, Sondheim is much more interesting to sing. So I can understand. It's just tougher when you hear it 18 times in a day. You're like, I kind of love a melody, actually.
No, it's like Sondheim is just like, girl, what's going on in this song? But then it's like the core of it is like I Into the Woods is probably like my favorite
That's a
musical.
great show.
It's just the sentiments about it. I think it's so beautiful. I think like you can't have, love and like adoration for life without the death and like the devastation. And I think it's such a beautiful show.
And that ties into your Shakespeare love too. That's such a way he approaches writing.
Totally. He's just like, you want to fall in love? Someone's got to die. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. You can't really enjoy it. Sorry.
I know. Literally.
Would you ever like write a show, you think? Or
One day I would love to. I think that's I've been thinking a lot about like, as I have gotten older, just thinking about like where I want to go in my career. And there's so many things I want to tackle. I want to tackle, acting. I want to tackle theater. I would love to be a part of, either writing like a jukebox musical about like my own music, but at the same time, writing something from scratch, like doing like what Cyndi Lauper did. Um, and yeah, I would just there's so many things I think that I can really do well that I look forward to delving more into eventually.
Yeah, like you said, you're so early in your career, you have so much time. So I love that you have
Yeah.
these dreams. Is there a collaborator you would really love to work with?
Producer wise, I feel like that's a hard question.
Sorry,
I
I
mean,
know.
everybody would love to get the Max Martin feature or like the Max Martin cut. At this point in my life, I don't know if that's something that I need. I respect him so greatly. He's like one of the best, if not the best pop music writer like ever. Um, I would love to get in the studio with like Dan Nigro, Ian Kirkpatrick. I love his work. Danielle Harrell. Um, there's one that I know that Jack Antonoff. I would love to get in the studio with Jack Antonoff. Well, I've been a Bleachers fan since like day one. I've seen Bleachers like 4 times. I am like I love Bleachers. Like I love all of their work and I think he's just so brilliant. Aside
I'm
from all of
sorry,
his
Jack's newest production though. Whoopsie daisy, you.
I have not been able to stop saying that. I literally just like it'll be like alone in my house. I'm like, whoopsie daisy, whoop.
Same thing. I've been like aware of Jack's career for longer than I think most people are, and especially since he's from Jersey, we love our homegrown people. So
Totally. I feel the same
he's
way about Long Island. Long Island is
yeah.
very Jersey and Long Island have parallel souls.
Yeah,
Like,
because we're both outside New York City, so it's like if we can claim something that's just us, we're like, suck it,
oh yeah.
Manhattan. Like this is us. Yeah.
No, you can go on like anybody on the street on Long Island and be like Billy Joel, right? And they're like, I
Yes.
know. Like
No, that's what Springsteen and Bon Jovi were like, but like father, right? Like fun uncle.
no, literally. So funny.
Do you have any music industry hot takes?
Yeah, I think AI does not have a place in music. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I just think AI sucks. I'm like stupid, flop, ugly. I think that if you're gonna be an artist, everything is political. I think that there was like a certain artist who won at the Grammys this year who was like, I'm not political. Really, bitch? I beg to differ. I think that everything is political and not that you have to you have to die on every hill, but I think that you have to be expected to be asked big questions about your stance on things, and you should have a backbone and a spine if you are someone that's making art that's impacting the masses.
Not choosing to take a stand just shows that you don't, first of all, understand the history of music, American pop
Exactly.
music industry. Like, if you don't know where music comes from that you're making, or if you really took the time to learn, you would also take a stand. So it just shows that you're privileged, and I don't have time for that.
Yeah. I also think maybe another hot take is that don't don't be a commercially viable artist if like you're not gonna own what comes with that. I think like there is like it's like a trend. I think it's been a trend of the last few years to be like, oh my God, I'm so popular and I have all this money and success and stature, but like I never really wanted it. Like I'm kind of like, I'm demure and like I'm not like the other girls. Like I'm just like everyone else. I'm like, no, like you chose this path and you knew like the things that it comes with of like signing with a major label and like
Right.
all of these kind of quote unquote like selling your life away kind of thing. Like you should know that you should take ownership of those things because those are your actions. And like I'm not going to sit over here and be like, oh my God, I'm trying to be like everybody else. Like I don't want the money or like the success. I'm not chasing fame, but I think that at the same time you should be really cognitive of the lifestyle that comes along with like these certain like levels of success, and you should just you should own it, you should be ready for it. And I think that I hate this like, oh my God, I didn't know what I was signing up for, but now I'm a huge artist and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so like
Well, no one's ever been famous before, so it's a surprise every time when like
Yeah,
you're
well,
like, what do you mean people care about like what famous been
yeah,
around
no,
forever? So.
exactly. So I think that is less of like, everyone's allowed to do what they want to do and like act how they want to act. But, if I'm in a position where people are like meeting, they're outside of my like hotel and they're like, I just want to meet you and like get a signature. I'm not going to be the type to stop and be like, I'm too busy for that. I can't. I just like leave me alone. I need quiet time. Like, no, I'm going to sign the signatures and I'm going to take the pictures and I'll go on with my merry day. And I think that's like a very like Gaga lesson where she was always just like, you know, doing all the things that are like the nitty gritty or like maybe the parts where it's like you want to turn that off, but that's not always a luxury that you can have. And once that is at your door, you have to be ready for the things that you've asked for. So yeah, I think that's kind of like sometimes I'm like,
Well, because no one's making you sign to a label, right? Like you can be successful as an
yeah,
independent artist and you don't, but when you sign to something major that's going to propel you because of the resources they have, you can't be surprised when the payoff is the payoff.
exactly. So it's like, you gotta be mindful, but you have to play the game, and then don't get mad when the game is what it is. Like,
Yeah. I mean, easy for us to say over here, but I agree with you.
I know me in 2 years, I'm like the biggest thing on the planet, and I'm like, no, I'm tired.
This is my karma. I attract what I'm afraid of.
No, literally, they're like Charlie XCX, and I'm like, no.
All right. Well, we have one more quick bit. Can you see the screen behind me?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to try. All right. So we're going to do fact or fiction. Is this a piece of
Okay.
IKEA furniture or a Swedish word? I can't
Okay.
pronounce any of these words.
I
I'm
mean,
so
okay.
sure it's offensive. But,
I mean, I think
we're
Swedes
in it.
are chill. The Swedes are chill.
All right. This one is Grafschalette.
I feel like that is. This is hard, actually. That has to be just a Swedish word.
It is this desk.
Shit.
All right. The next one is Amarid.
That I'm gonna guess Swedish word again.
It's this stool.
Damn. Maybe I don't go to IKEA enough.
Well, yeah, I think that's part of it too. Is like we need to go to IKEA more often.
Yeah, I need to get lost in IKEA.
All right. The next one is Snala.
Is that a piece of furniture?
It means please.
Me, I'm like
so sorry.
No, I'm like I need to ask Zara Larson for her help.
Yeah, hit her up. Fika.
That has to be a word.
It is. It's the word for coffee break.
Period. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Next one is omjange.
Umjange. That feels like it's a piece of IKEA furniture.
It is. It's this. We don't know what it's hard to see for you, but it's like a tiny table.
Period.
Yeah, like right just off frame is like a triangle shaped piece of wood. Okay.
I love that IKEA's brand is like words you can't pronounce, and then also just a huge warehouse that everybody like is like, where am I?
Meisigd.
I feel like that's a word.
It is. It's cozy.
Ooh,
that's a nice
one.
Lurjan.
That feels like a piece of furniture.
It's a sink.
I'm getting better at this. Okay.
You are. Yeah.
I feel like with this, they try to like lean into using the cool letters.
Yeah, which is why I know I'm pronouncing it wrong because I don't know what that means. Well, mangata or manjata.
Manjata. That has to be an IKEA furniture.
It actually means moonlight on the water.
That's so romantic. I love that.
It's a pretty word. Yeah.
I thought that's like a great song title.
It honestly would be. Hit up Sarah Larson. Soul cat.
That's a word.
Sunlight on a wall.
Okay. See, it's so interesting that they have words that mean like sentences or like a phrase.
I agree. So there's two more. So sorry.
Work. I think that's a word.
It's these three little cute friends.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. And the last one. Flodnijonga. I don't know.
That feels like a piece of furniture.
It is, and if you were here today, that would have been your prize.
Oh my
But I'll have to
God.
give it to you some other time.
Yay! I'm like, I won.
Yes,
Spoon.
congratulations on your. I can't. This is the one I really can't pronounce.
Like,
Flood. So, that's for you when I see you next. But Maddie, this has been so fun. Thank you so
so
much.
fun. Of course, anytime. I would love to hang out with you just one-on-one sometime too.
Yeah.
And of course
Yes.
with Heather. Let's get
Yeah.
lunch sometime or something.
That would be great. Yeah, I would really love that.
Girls lunch.
Ladies who lunch. All right. All right, Maddie, where can the internet find you?
All my tags are I am Matty Marz. Instagram, TikTok. I deleted Twitter. I was gonna reactivate it, but I think it's permanently gone.
Yeah. Also,
you know,
you're
I'm
better
like,
off.
yeah, I'm like, girl, we don't. I'm like, what is it called now? I don't even. I'm like,
X. I don't know.
It's all
yeah,
It's called
I
Twitter.
think I am Matty Marz pretty much anywhere.
Okay. And so I know you are looking to release your single sometime in March, but do you have any shows coming up at all?
I'm in the midst of planning them right now.
Okay,
I'm like
great. So,
trying to perform a lot more. Everyone's about to be sick of me.
so make sure we follow you so we know when when the next shows are.
Exactly.
All right, Maddie. Well, thank you.
I love you. Thank
I love
you
you
so
too.
much.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll see you very, very soon.
Yes.
All right. You have a good rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
'Cause hot girls always win.
Thanks for listening to Emily Spins It, presented by the Indie Music Network and Not Dead Yet Media. This episode was produced by Heather de Armas and edited by me, Emily Mills. Our intro and outro music is Hot Girls Always Win by Really Blonde. If you've enjoyed the episode, please support the podcast by sharing, subscribing, and leaving a review. You can also follow the show on Instagram and YouTube at Emily Spins It. For more shows about breaking through the noise, head over to the Indie Music Network podcast. If you have questions or feedback, contact us at notdeadyetmedia.com/contact.